everybody and welcome along to PSGL PSF1 for round number 6 of the championship, and we head to the first race of the Italian doubleheader. It is of course the Temple of Speed for the Italian Grand Prix, and will Danerco continue his form, extending his lead on the top of the championship? We'll find out in just over an hour's time. My name is Jess Ball, your commentator for this evening. Unfortunately, Aidan Carter, my usual co-commentator, is travelling back from Paris today, so he's unable to make it, so he will join me back next week. So I'm flying solo tonight, so hopefully I can keep you entertained nonetheless. So we had an action-packed race last week where we did see Tom take his first win of the season, and what a deserving win at that, and he had some great battles along the way to get to it as well, and he was on a perfect strategy as well. Now originally it was Rowan that got the win, but he got a 5-second penalty in the race, which got removed by the stewards because it was an unfair penalty. He didn't overtake under yellow flags according to his footage. But then he got another 5-second time penalty due to an incident with Oggiano. That it was a hit-to-pass overtaking manoeuvre. Rowan carried slightly too much speed into the first corner and pushed Oggiano wide, allowing him to pass him. As Oggiano left the track, he's fell on his own on the curb. So basically the 5-second time penalty got removed. He got back because of the incident he had with Oggiano. So that was why Tom won the race. And we also saw Asacombe receive a 5-second time penalty due to his incident with H. Eagle. He also got 2 licence points as well for causing a collision. Asacombe carried too much speed into turn 13 relative to H. Eagle and tapped him. As a result, H. Eagle lost control and was spun around. So Asacombe was dropped, I believe, outside the points, but I'll need to double check that. Yeah, I believe he was outside the points. We'll go through the standings in just a few moments' time. And Rudy got a warning with dangerous driving when he forced Asacombe on the grass shortly before entering the turn 16 braking zone. I can't remember what lap it was, but I think I remember capturing it on stream. And I'm just trying to see what else. There was also a 5-second time penalty for Asacombe, again due to an incident with Brock, with causing a collision into turn number 7. And then all the other incidents were no further action. So there we go. The stewards were quite busy last week in Japan. Hopefully it won't be as busy this week. But we will go through the standings before we head to the qualifying session. So here we go. We've got the standings here. So Danerco just missed out on the race victory, but he was still able to get P2 last week, which extends his championship lead. Valtters only scoring 5 points last week. He's on 36 points, so it's a massive 24-point gap between himself and Danerco. Not the ideal situation to be in for Philip Valtters, but it's still not over until it's over. We've got about 6 more rounds to go, including this one. Anything can happen. Asacombe on 34 points is third in the standings. We've got Tom in 4th on 31. Brock in 5th on 25. Then we got Rudy on 22. Then we got Rowan in 7th. Cazidle in 8th. Cazidle had a really good result last time out by getting a podium. Just missed out on the win, but he was the first person to take 2 poles this season. Everyone else who got pole only had it once. Cazidle was the first person to have it twice. Then we have Ray, who had another good result last week. It was his second race in PSF1, and he got 14 points overall. Now, didn't quite get the 4 points he was hoping for, but to be honest, he will take the 6 points in 5th place. Then we have Louis in 11th spot, Jensen in 12th, Oggiano 13th, Chiquita in 14th, Fabi 15th, Mish in 16th. Marcados did not score any points, but he obviously still kept going after being lapped. I think it was once. Lamaya is next on 18. Then we got Fede in 19th, and then the rest of them yet to score. And obviously we have a few reserve drivers underneath all those. So let's have a look at the track that the drivers will be facing today. So the 5.793 kilometre circuit, and it has 11 turns, and it has 2 DRS zones, and quite a lot of overtaking opportunities as well. So plenty of chances for people to get some laps under their belts, and it is one of the shortest races in terms of time as well. So hopefully there's no safety cars. We should get done very, very quickly. But without further ado, I know you guys want to get on with some action. So we have got some action. We've got a 4-car grid today, but we do have a few reserves. So I will go through who the reserves are, and it would help if I didn't close my notes that I had open. I did have it open. It was on my other screen. Silly me. But anyway, we have Legend filling in tonight. We also have so Legend is in. I'm trying to see what car he is. He's in the Williams tonight. We also have Romanino. He is in the Red Bull. And we have Nam, who is also in the Williams. So both our Williams drivers, that's Fusilio and Chiquita, can't make it tonight, unfortunately. But let's hope they're back next week. So, circuit, the Italian Grand Prix is the original Italian Grand Prix. And it's first opened in the track in 1922 and was just the 3rd permanent autodrome in the world at that time. And the first Formula 1 race was back, I believe, I'm trying to remember when it was. It was back in the 1950, and we saw some quite interesting things happen. And the closest F1 finish, actually, was back in 1971 with Peter Geffen and Ronnie Peterson, but only 5 thousandths of a second. So we'll find someone on board to take us on board a lap. Let's go on board with the home favourite, the Tifosi favourite, Dan Erco, as he heads towards turn number 4. Obviously, the Ferrari fans are kitted with their Tifosi clothes and all that, going out in style. They're cheering for him. He's also Italian as well, so it is great to see him there doing well for his own country in the team. As we now head toward the sky, this is the next DRS zone. Now you head towards the 50-metre board, click to the left, then right, then left again. So easy to get wrong, as I found out by doing a race on Saturday. You just got to nail it perfectly as well. And I know some people can take the curve absolutely aggressively, but don't take it too much, because otherwise you will spin and end up in a wall, because it's so easy to do around here. So here comes Dan Erco, our championship leader. Let's see if he can get across the line into provisional pole position. No, not quite. 3rd position for now, but it is Asacombe, who usually tops the timing sheet at the start of the session. That kicks it off today with a 1:18.911. We've got more people coming across the line. We've got Romanino, one of our reserve drivers, who's going to be heading towards the Arboreto curve, which was formerly known as Parabolica. I still like to call it Parabolica, and I know some of you guys in the chat as well like to call it as well. So I might keep calling it Parabolica, but if you want to call it Arboreto curve, it is entirely up to you, as Romanino has actually set a very good competitive lap time in P4. What about Ascombe's teammate down in P16? Now he's going into the pit, so he wasn't very happy with his lap. We've got, I believe, Tom still in the pits at the moment. I'm guessing he wants to get a little bit of feel in a second, or he possibly wasn't happy with his lap earlier. Now I'm in 3rd position now. Nam has had a mixed season since being a reserve driver for us at PSGL, so it's great to see him near the top of the standings at the moment. And I'm just trying to think where he is. He hasn't scored any points as a reserve driver. He finished the race, but he didn't score any points. Could this be the race where he can turn things around and prove to himself that he can be a full-time driver in the future? So that is most people that has finished their lap time. We've got Oggiano, who had a very unlucky race last time out, who DNF'd, sadly. But he is back with a vengeance, down in 20th position. We've got a few Ferrari-powered cars who want to do well for the Tifosi, and Oggiano is one of them. And I know Oggiano wants to be very, very consistent in terms of his lap times and his pace here today. Now, we don't know what the weather is going to be, or I like to usually keep it a surprise, but we've seen in PSF2, I was watching it before obviously we went to PSF1, how treacherous the conditions was towards the end of the session, where it was a dry to wet race. I believe it was still intermediate conditions when I last left it as well, and it was raining at the start of qualifying, but it dried up very quickly. They were in the 118s in PSF2, so we all expect people to be in the low 118s, maybe possibly 117s in qualifying, 118s most likely. So Oggiano is going to take us fully on a lap around the circuit, and tyre wear is going to be absolutely key around here, because if you get it wrong, the strategy wrong, then you're going to be in puncture territory very, very quickly. So this circuit configuration has remained unchanged since 2000. So the first corners that you're going to be approaching the Variante del Refidio, I think that's how you say it, this makes up the first chicane. So you go right and then left. He takes it very, very nicely indeed as you head towards turn number 2. Now, Curva Grande, turn number 3. It will unsettle the car going to Curva Grande if you don't, if you do touch the yellow and black sausage curb before in turn number 1. Variante del Regia, turn 4 and 5 then. 4th gear here as well. And some people could take it even more aggressively as there has been some comments on Twitter about the 60 FPS thing on PC. Luckily, I don't think we have that problem on PS, but I know some people have 120 FPS monitors on PS5 and they can't actually turn it down, so they may have to take it a little bit more cautiously through there. Head towards the Ascari now. You go left, then right, and then left, and you're going to be staying in 6th gear through here up to 7th on exit. Now, Oggiano is coming across some traffic. Let's hope the traffic moves out the way. Ooh, that was very tight. As hopefully people have not impeded Oggiano in any way, shape or form. As Oggiano comes across the line, what can he do? Can it be pole position? Yes, he can, a 1:18.8, but there was still more time to find for the Haas driver. We've got Tom, who's also passed some traffic, last week's race winner, who's anxiously wanting to make a second one as well. Brock, I think, is one of them who's looking to get his first win of the season as well. Brock got P2, I believe, in Belgium. But what can Tom do in Mercedes? Can he get pole? Not quite. He got hindered by traffic a little bit as well. So only comes across the line in P12. Everybody is finishing off their lap, so we'll go through a few of them in just a moment. Rudy's heading towards Curva Grande now to see if he can improve on his 1:19.0. I believe his teammate is about to cross the line soon, which he is, of Legend. So Legend and Nam about to start their lap times. We've got McLaren because it's all last week's pole sitter. He's looking at to make it a 3rd in a row. He usually likes to do and leave pole sitters pretty much to the end of the session. He doesn't like to set pole at the start usually now. We used to at the start of the season, but knowing there could be a lot of pressure under his shoulders. Now we saw Rages came across the line as well. He was 3 tenths up in the final sector and he's in 3rd. Willem Wouters comes across the line in towards P2 as well. He got his first win in Austria. Hasn't had a win since then. He has scored points, but he's looking to be even more consistent in the Alfa Romeo and make the Tifosi proud. We got Mish, who's 4 100ths down, 4 thousandths down, sorry, on his previous run. I believe he's backed off, so he is going to go into the pits. That was a bit unfortunate that they didn't find any more time in the final sector, but there's still 8 minutes and 40 seconds left to go of qualifying. Jensen, unfortunately, has aborted his run. We've got a Red Bull who's going to cross the line. That's Remenino. He's 8th at the moment. Can he get into the 118s? Because he'll be very, very close if he could do so. No, he's 4.2 seconds down, so he aborted his run there as well. Cadillo is going across the Alboreto curve as well, currently sitting in P12. He only needs to find 3 tenths to get on pole position. That is how tight these margins are in PSF1. So he's going into the pits. A lot of people seem to be aborting their laps, so they're not happy with their laps at the moment. So we could have a bit of a lull coming up at the moment. I think almost everyone is aborting their run. I think only a few people improved. We've seen Oggiano has improved to P1, and Valves in 2nd, Ascombe 3rd, Ray in 4th, Legend 5th, Nam in 6th, Brock in P7, and I believe he will be going into the pits as well. Let us know your predictions in the chat on who you think is going to be getting pole position for today's Italian Grand Prix in PSF1. Thank you to those of you that just joined us from the lower tiers. Hope you're all doing absolutely fabulous, and you can catch those tiers after this if you want to, if you missed it. And Rudy on 2-lap-old softs has improved by a tenth to a 1:18.727 and just pipped Oggiano's time. So the 2 Talent Factory guys are showing everybody else what they're made of at the moment. A Talent Factory 1-2. Even though they are in different constructors, they do want to help each other out quite a lot here as well. That probably hasn't helped Asacombe at the moment, down in P4, but I know Asacombe has the pace, but he hasn't converted that pace into a win yet. But he's going to be warming his tyres to the Alboreto curb, so we'll see how he manages this next lap, as I do believe we have, I think, one of the McLarens coming out. That is Ray coming out for his run as well. And then we've got Cazidle, who's just started his run too. So both McLarens are out. But let's watch Nehemiah as he finishes. Oh, as he had a bit of a spin. He just catches it in time to avoid the wall there. He's just hit the wall there as I just said that. So that was a bit of a commentator's curse from myself, Jess Games. So do apologise about that. So he also goes into the pits. Ascombe about to start his run. Fabi heads towards turn number 1 now as well. And you can see a lot of traffic in the middle sector. So people would need to get out the way as quickly as they possibly can. So where is Ascombe at the moment? He's heading... Oh, that was a bit of a squirm from Ascombe there. He's lost so much time. So he's not going to improve at all unless he has a miraculous final sector. I literally do not know what happened there. Ascombe is a few 100s down on his previous best. So he's not going to improve unless he has a good final sector. Mish is a few 100s down. It was a 26-1 in the first sector. I didn't know what Jensen's was, but I'll have a look at that in a minute. So both of the McLarens are about to start their runs. We've got, I believe, a Williams about to start their run too. Legend going through Curva Grande now. There's just people just on a mixture of strategies at the moment, but this could be the last we see from some of them as well. As Mish goes through the middle sector, heading towards Ascari now. Now we're getting an outboard shot for the first time around here. And that's very nicely indeed. Just avoids a spinning Alpine heading through Ascari there. But luckily, that Alpine was ghosted. So Mish down in at 20th position. Not looking good for the Tifosi in terms of Mish, but see what he can do. Crossing the line. Can he find the time that he's looking for to put himself on pole? Nope, he stays in P17. And Dernerko, he's not finding the time he needs to at the moment. He's only down in P13, but we'll see what we can do in this middle part of the lap then. Heading towards Lesmo 1 and 2. Aim for the right apex on both of them to gain as much speed and traction as you possibly can. And speeds are going up to around about 210, 215 miles an hour. 70% of the lap can be taken at full throttle. You lose so much ERS around here in the race that you got to balance it a lot as he's purple in sector 2. This is more like it for our championship leader as he heads towards the back straight here as well. And you can't give your teammate a tow. That is not allowed in PSGL. And luckily Dernerko hasn't given anyone a tow or hasn't been given a tow. So can Dernerko put his Ferrari car onto the pole position? Oh, that was very close. He was 3 temps up, but not quite enough to beat Rudy's time. I'm sure he'll be happy with second place. Nonetheless, Philip Valters is 6 temps down on his previous one, so I wonder if he's going to abort his run and go into the pits. I won't be surprised if he does so. Yes, he does go into the pits. Anybody else on a run? Sorry, I keep flicking through the cameras as Romanino has unfortunately invalidated his run. So it's H Eagle, so he'll be going again. So I think everybody will be going again. I think the first person to start an outlap will be Jensen down in 20th position. Now, a lot of things to say about VSR Jensen. In my personal opinion, he's had a mixed bag of a season. Not gone the way that he would have hoped, but he's had some very good results in that Alpine car. That can't be avoided. He got a podium in Miami in round number 2. Failed to score a point in round number 1 in Austria, round 3 in Belgium, and round number 4 in Mexico. He did get 3 points in Japan. He felt like he could have got higher, but any point he will take it, because 3 points could make a difference between winning a position or losing a position in the championship. He's currently sitting in 12th position, 13 points, a few points behind Orgiano, and ahead of Orgiano, and 1 point behind Ray, who's only been in the season for 2 races because he was in PSF2. So surely he would have hoped for something more. But he feels like Monza is a track where he can really capitalise on other people's mistakes. So let us know your predictions. What do you think is going to be the pole time, and who do you think is going to get that pole position. I will read your comments in the chat. I've got the chat open on my phone on the left-hand side so I can see it whilst everybody is on their laps. So, Jensen, first man to set his final run. He should have time to do one more after this one. So this one might be a banker lap for him if he doesn't like this one. That's one advantage going out as early as you can. If you don't like your first run, you can go again. And it looks like he has aborted his run a little bit. Yeah, he has aborted. He's using a bit less of ERS, so we'll have to wait and see, as I believe Fede is warming his tyres as well. So those two will be on banker laps. We're going out early. Everybody else, I believe, will be on runs. We'll see how Rudy takes turn 4 and 5. I think just a little... And as I said that, Rudy has invalidated his run then. So he's going to save his ERS. Hopefully he's got enough fuel to last for this run and the next one he does. And we got Simon, who's predicting a 1:18.5 for pole time, and he thinks Rudy is going to get pole position. Interesting. Do you think anyone could get a 1:18.5? It is possible around here, so we'll have to wait and see then. We've got Ogiano going through sector 1. We've got quite a few people who have invalidated their runs. A lot of people seem to be struggling through turns 4 and 5 as Dernerko can't improve on his 1:18.7. And I believe he's binned it. He's binned it, I think, turn 4. Or one of the first Les modes. Oh, that's a big pile up there, because Kazidal had a bit of a spin as well. So unfortunately, Kazidal is not going to take his third pole position of the season. And there's a little bit of debris as well, which could catch people out. So, what can the Williams of Legend do? The checker flag has dropped. So these are their last runs. Legend, 2 tenths up. P2. This is absolutely fantastic for the Williams driver. We've got AlphaTauri going into the pits. We have got Namaya up to the line of a 1:18.9, puts him in P7. We've got an AlphaTauri that just binned it across the line, actually. And we've got Mercedes that is brought up to the line. He can only manage 9th on the grid. We've got Fabi up to the line. He's 11th at the moment. Can he improve? No, he doesn't improve. But at least he keeps his consistency. His teammates going through Parabolic. And now we've got 2 Alpha Romeos up to the line. H Eagle has unfortunately invalidated. Philip Valters goes in to the pit lane. Jensen, can he improve? He improves. He's not last anymore. Up into P16. No one is improving on Rudy's 1:18.7. And I believe that is it then. So, for the first time this season, Rudy is on pole position. Not quite the 1:18.5 that was predicted, but at least Diamond got the pole sitter correct. And it is a talent factory. 1, 2, 3. Now that will put the smile on the talent factory guys' faces. And we do have a Haas in P2, which will keep the Tifosi happy, even though they wanted Danerko up there. So, we'll go through your qualifying results before we go through our sponsors. So, Rudy on the provisional, well, is on pole position by 9 thousandths of a second. Look how close it is. We got Legend 3/100 slower. Then we got Danerko in 4th. Rowan in 5th. Tom in 6th. That's just under a 10 between the top 6. I thought this is F1 Esports looking at those. Valts in 7th, Ascom 8th, Ray 9th, Namaya 10th. And we got Brock, Nam, Fabi, Romanino, Kazidal, Jensen, H Eagle, Mish, Fede, Louis. And a few people would need to improve from their qualifying into the race. But before we go in straight into the race, because there's no formation lap just like last week, let's have a quick word from our sponsor, GT Omega. Hello, welcome back to PSF1. We're here for round number 6 of the championship. We go to the Temple of Speed for the Italian Grand Prix, and we've got myself, Jess Ball, taking you through the action tonight. And it is Rudy that is starting on the front row at pole position. Will he be able to convert it to a race win? We'll have to wait and see. We've got 15 seconds left on the clock, and thank you to all of you that are watching this so far. Hopefully you'll be left entertained just like we will. It's most likely going to be a medium to hard strategy, but you never know in terms of the weather, because it is prone to rain around here, as we found out in the other tiers tonight, and it's quite overcast at the moment. The 5 red lights are on your screen. We've got Rudy on the right, we've got Olgiano on the left, and it is go, go, go. Let's see who gets a decent start out the two of them. It looks like Rudy has hold on to his position perfectly as they all make their way down towards turn number 1. We've got Dernerko, who's had a monstrous start, but he has to take the escape road, so he's dropped down a little bit. He had a bit of a spin as well. Not quite the start to our home favourite and our championship leader at the moment. So it's Rudy first, Olgiano second, Legend third. Tom has had a good start in P4 at the moment, but he's been chased down by a lot of cars. We got Asako trying to go down the inside of Rome, but can't do it, unfortunately. We got Ray, who's had a good start. He's made quite a few places where we've already got a few people have time penalties already, which is quite weird actually. So that might get removed from the stewards later on, but we'll have to wait and see. But quite a few mistakes from some of the drivers having to take the escape road, but Dernerko still got a long way to go. There's only lap 1 of this race, as they all head down towards Ascari now as well. Rudy, 5/10 of a second separating himself and Olgiano, but Legend is catching. Don't forget, Legend is reserving for tonight's race in the Williams, filling in for Chiquita, and wants to do the Williams team proud because the Williams team not scoring many points in some of the races so far. But he's got a brilliant run on Olgiano heading towards turn number 1 then. So we'll see if he has a straight line speed. Now don't forget, these guys, some of these guys I've heard are running 0-0 wing. Now the lower the aero that you run around Monza, as I found when I did a race on Saturday, it's prone to having more tyre take and more tyre wear. So the lower wing that these drivers have, then their time management has got to be absolutely impeccable. And they can't be pushing too much, but these guys are Formula 1 racing drivers. They're the pinnacle of PlayStation, so of course they want to be pushing, but they can't afford to be pitting early, because as I found out from me pitting early on Saturday, my tyres, after being on the road for 21 laps, they were on 82% when I crossed the checker flag. So, you know, you've got to have the right setup for tyres. This one, it is very, very crucial due to the fact that it's high speed, and also ERS can be quite key as well, because there's not much to harvest and recharge with the battery around this track as well. So I think some of them will save a little bit more. So I will expect people to not go for moves as of yet, and we will see a very huge DRS train coming up as well. So we'll keep an eye on that. But obviously DRS not activated yet. And get your predictions in the chat. Will we see some rain? Now everybody has gone onto the hard compounded side except Louis. So Louis has been the one who's opted for the soft. Now Eugene Amaya has gone for the alternate strategy, but it is Louis this week, and he's not had the start, so he would have liked. He is down in last place, so but he is hoping for an early safety car, which could put him back into contention, but not the strategy I would have gone for in today's race. But I'm quite shocked to see less people going on the medium tyres. Now DRS is activated now for these drivers, so they can use it if they're within 1 second of the car ahead, and if they're within the DRS zones, of course. But not people going for it yet. We've got, I think, 2 of the Red Bulls going side by side through the first Lesmo, as they both made contact. Both Fabio and Romanino made contact. Now this is an example of why you don't tangle with your teammate, because that happened, and I'm sure Fabio's not going to be happy with that at all. Don't forget, Romanino is a reserve driver, and I think words are going to be said in the Red Bull debrief, I think, later on tonight. But that was a bit of a shame, unfortunately. Let's look at the positions gained from all the drivers. This race has gone so quickly so far. So Tom has gained 2, Ascombe's gained 2. Biggest gainers have got to be Jensen and H. Eagle. They've gained 4 positions. Fede has gained 4. Kazizzo has gained 1. Misha's gained 1. And Louis has gained 1 position. Biggest loser, as of course, have got to be Danerko, who has dropped he's dropped 4 positions, really, to be honest. But he's on the back of Philip Valters. Got a much better exit this time on turn 1. But it looks like Ray had an even better exit as they head towards Curva Grande now, side by side. It looks like Danerko had the edge on defending. Danerko's defending this season has been amazing. But I think Ray has got the better straight line speed. There will be quite a few people braking just a little bit earlier if they're running high wing, don't forget. So if they're running 0-0, then watch out for these drivers. As Ray did not quite get Danerko then, but we're heading towards the next DRS zone. Heading towards Ascari, so this could be his chance once again. And it doesn't look like he's going to go for it soon. Nope, he's not going to go for it as of yet. So he is going to be saving a bit of VRS because he's on 14% right now. So if I was him, I would save a bit. And saying that, he's saved a bit less at the moment as well. So no one has had a trip to the pits right now. Everybody has kept it calm and collected a few spins. A few spins from some of the drivers, but obviously not enough, obviously, to pick damage. But their tyres will probably overheat and they will have to pit just a little bit earlier. And thank you to everybody that's supporting us in the chat. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up and subscribe, and also hit that notification bell if you are new. And we are also sponsored by our title sponsor, GT Omega. You can get 5% off all GT Omega products by clicking the link in the description, as Louis has got past Romanina up into 18th position. And we're also sponsored by Grid Rival as well, where you can get predicting on our F1 2022 Fantasy League. You can go on to PremierSimGL.com/Grid Rival. And that link is also in the description as well. As one Ferrari, again the Ferraris are not doing too well around here as they head towards Lesmo 2. But I think Misha's got the better straight line speed through here. Nope, he hasn't. He's got the better cornering speed. It looks like the Nam has got the better straight line speed, it seems, as well. It's all in good in making sure that you're ahead of the drivers, your rivals on the corners, but it's mostly straight line. So you've got to have the setup for straight line speed at the moment. And I think we can see Asakome, who's gained a little bit of momentum on Rowan as we head towards the start-finish straight then. Speeds, don't forget, up to 215 miles per hour in some parts of the circuit. Approaching now even over 215. Asakome has got a straight line speed. Oh, that was a bit too fast. Asakome also had to take the escape road there. So he's down into 6th position. Not the first person to have hit the escape road tonight. Danerko has done so as well. He's lost a lot of time. But that has allowed the likes of Tom to get up into 4th place, doing an incredible job so far. Not much has changed. People will already be thinking, in terms of pit stops right now, what would your rivals be thinking of as well? Now, we saw this obviously in real life. A lot of people do not want to get into some traffic when you're racing around here because it obviously depends on the setup. So you want to pit within clear air if you can and do not want double stat. And remember, well, we saw maiden wins around it. We saw Pierre Gasly take his maiden win in 2020. Just narrowly beating Carlos Sainz. And we also saw Sebastian Vettel winning his maiden win in the wet. And to be honest, that was one of my favourite wins ever in a while as well. And I think it was Vettel who took his first pole position as well there. So quite memorable moments as well. And we saw 1988 Ferrari ending McLaren's win streak because I think Alan Prost was out of the race with engine issues. And there was quite a few collisions there as well. So, will we see a maiden win for Rudy tonight? Don't forget, Rudy was our F3 champion from last season. He's all the way up in F1 this season. He would have liked to get a win a few races ago, but he was very unlucky. And it's starting to get a little bit more dark, so I wonder if we're seeing something similar to what we saw in PSF2, that the rain could possibly be coming. The drivers have not told me about the weather. They might have done, but I haven't checked Discord because I want to keep it a surprise for you. And I want to keep it a surprise for myself as well. Now, Tom has got to be careful. There's quite a few drivers, including himself, that's losing a bit of ground to the drivers ahead. And you want to be within DRS, like Legend. Legend has increased his speed at the moment. And the reason why Tom's losing time is because he's losing too much ERS. He's using it when he's not needing to. Whereas Legend has been using it a lot and pushing when he needs to. Louis has got past Mitch up into 17th place. But this is a battle for P2. Legend has got the straight line speed that he needs. Hopefully he won't do the same mistakes as what we saw Azzacombe a lap ago. But he does not. And he stays behind for now to get a good exit and clear the DRS as he heads towards Curva Grande in towards turn 3. As a lot of people are just chilling to save their battery, because otherwise if you lose too much, you won't have a lot to use at the end of the race. So that's why people are not going for moves as of yet. We will see people go for moves when it comes to the pit stops. Now, a quick reminder of the pit stop strategy, as I did have it noted down somewhere. Around about lap 15 is when the people on the hards will go onto a set of the medium compound tyres. But this could all change because Zizzle is out the race. Now, he binned in the second Lesmo. Now, will we see a safety car? Now, it doesn't look like we are seeing a safety car at the moment. But Kazitzel was not too happy about that. I don't think he made contact with anyone. He may have just lost it by himself. He may have hit the right apex too much in the second Lesmo. That is a shame for the McLaren driver. His point streak, unfortunately, for Kazitzel this season has come to an end. And to be honest, Kazitzel was one of the drivers who has impressed me so far in PSF1. After moving up from F2 last season. But he's got a second chance to do well in the Italian region when we head to Imola next week. So Rudy still leads Orgiano in second. Orgiano has definitely been waiting patiently, so is Rudy. You can tell that these guys have been doing Monza races for a long time on this game because of the amount of ERS they have been saving. So in a few laps time, just watch out for these guys as well. We also almost saw Orgiano make the move throughout Ascari. He's got a better run. I think what these drivers are looking for is for the other drivers around them to make mistakes, and that's when they can pounce, and that's where we will see a chain reaction forming. And I think Orgiano's got a good run here. But will we see, like we saw last time, him not going for it? I think Legend's going to go for it as well. And we saw it pretty much yesterday with Alexander Albon holding up this train. But Orgiano's going to go to the right-hand side, heading towards turn 1. Can he hold his line and calm his nerve as we head towards turn number 2? Yes, he does. Orgiano takes the race lead of the Italian Grand Prix. And will Legend take advantage of that and channel his inner Alexander Albon as we head towards turn number 4? Oh, he had a bit of a twitchy moment there, and I think he should have broken earlier there as well. That's given Tom an advantage through the first Lesmo, but to no avail for the Mercedes driver. He could have took it, but there may have been contact if he'd done so, and sometimes there's situations where you can take risks, but I don't think Tom would have wanted to take risks around that corner. But he's still there, looking to gain in on the podium. He was a bit worried that he wouldn't keep his win last week, but he did keep his win. He probably wasn't expecting a win from last week. And he's there, he always consistently fights in the top 4, I would say. Whether it's either strategy or contact or incidents or even just pace that somehow seems to let him down on some occasions. He's had 2 podiums so far. He would have liked it to make it 3 today. We'll see if he can do that. And even if Warren and Ascone get past, he might be ahead of them anyway, but penalties could be removed. Obviously, we'll see what the stewards say in in the stewards' findings as well, because there will be words, I assume. But here comes Rowan then on the back of Tom. Again, saving that ERS deployment battery. I think we saw it in real life as well. A lot of ERS saving at this point during the race as well, unless people make a mistake. Now, this track used to be 10 kilometres long because it had a banked oval which was used for 4 races in the late 1950s, which I absolutely love. You can still see it on the game if you go in photo mode and just go absolutely crazy with it. And there used to be a 4.5 kilometre loop which was redeveloped into a high-speed bank oval in the 1950s, but now obviously we have the layout that we know today due to obviously safety reasons. Now this is PSF1 for those of you that don't know already. This is the guys from the PlayStation tier battling it out around the Italian Grand Prix circuit. The first of 2 Italian circuits. We go to Imola next week as we see our first pit stop from Asacombe. So he is pulling the trigger early. Now I was not expecting him to pull the trigger as early as he did, but he has done so. So here comes Asacombe out of the pit lane onto a set of the medium tyres. Can those mediums last? How many laps left we got in this race? We were expecting people to go on the mediums around about lap 15. So he's got some chance to cool his tyres. Will that iron out a few mistakes from some people? Will the guys over push it maybe? And Romanino is out of the race. He has retired in the pit lane, so no safety cars at the moment. We're almost approaching halfway in this race already. That's how quick this race has gone. And let us know your predictions. Have your predictions changed? Who do you think is going to win this race so far? And I think since we're approaching pit stop territory, will we see people going for ambitious moves at the moment? Rudy, 0.3 of a second separating himself and Oggiano. Oggiano is leading the race. None of the top 4 are pitting, but Rowan is. Rowan is serving his 5-second penalty. Ray is in as well. As Rudy, with a DRS, gets past Oggiano there. As Rudy is up in a 2P1. We got a Talent Factory 1, 2, 3 at the moment. And we got Tom and Shazoo in P4. But where does Ray and Rowan come out ahead of Asacombe then? So Asacombe comes out of the pit lane ahead of both of them. So it shows that the undercut does work. However, Asacombe's tyres will start to wear out towards the end. Mediums last 15 laps, but ultimately they last 13 laps. So it's a bit of a risk, but it can be done. So if I was Rudy and Oggiano, would you stay out a few more laps to have the best condition tyre? Or would you pit next lap? I think a lot of people had those decisions to make. Obviously, in Japan last week, I think a lot of people stayed out in Mexico as well. And a few people were making opposite decisions to what they made the previous week to see if they can experiment a bit more. As we'll see if Rudy comes in. Rudy comes in. No, not Rudy. Yeah, Rudy comes in. Oggiano stays out. Tom stays out. Dernurko stays out. Namaya stays out. And so does Jensen. Obviously, Jensen had to stay out because his teammate is in. So we got half the field that started on the hards going in. Half the field staying out. So we'll follow Asacombe once again. Going through the Alboreto curve. Will he be ahead of these guys? Asacombe set the fastest lap of the race. He's ahead of the Williams, but is he ahead of Rudy? No, Rudy is your net race leader at the moment, but Rudy will be on cold tyres. If Asacombe wants to get past Rudy, he's got to get past him now. He has the advantage, but he's using too much ERS. To the right-hand side of Curva Grande they go. They head towards turn number 4 as both the drivers leave as much space as they can. And Rudy almost made a bit of a mistake there as Asacombe goes to the right as they go into Lesmo 1. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful from Asacombe. And now Asacombe takes the race lead. But don't forget, Asacombe also has that 5-second time penalty, so I wonder if Rudy was fighting too much. Looks like Rudy's going to fight again. He's got the DRS. Here he comes for Ascari. Thinks about it. Oh! He thought about it but decided no, he's lost a bit of time because of his cold tyres. Even Legend is taking advantage of him now. Suddenly, this race is starting to get even busier, and I like it. As Legend is in P12, but you almost got P11 on the dot. Everybody is coming into the pits now. Fabi's the only one who hasn't pitted. So, Oggiano's come out in the race lead. So Oggiano with the massive overcut. He stayed out for a few laps. And that's paid off for him as we got the rev glitch on spectator camera, which is not ideal. But Oggiano is your race leader. Adscombe second, Rudy in at P3, Legend in at P4. Tom has gained the least out of all this as well. So for some people, the undercut has worked, and for some people, the overcut has worked. So there we go. We've got a few people in the chat. We've got Simply YT, hello. We've got Matt Lane, Miss Reva as well, fantastic. We've got Milan, we've got Dazza as well. And of course, we've got Xander as well watching, who races in PC now. And I think we're starting to see some tactics being made by some of the drivers for Ascari then. Taking advantage of Oggiano's cold tyres. And I think we could start to see the competitive nature as Rudy tries to get past Adscombe. But this time, he makes it work. He didn't make it work last lap, but he makes it work this lap as well. So there we go. That was nicely timed by Rudy, but Adscombe's going to get a DRS. But so does Rudy. I don't know what Rudy's going to do right now. Rudy could have had a chance to get past Oggiano, but look at this. We got the Williams of Legend side by side with Adscombe. That was perfectly timed from the Williams driver. Williams is up to a net P3 of Legend. Is a reserve driver, remember, but he wants to get some points nonetheless because he's only on 1 point. He only scored 1 point in Miami. And he's doing ever so well at the moment, down in P5. But he's in a net P3 at the moment, so obviously we've got 2 people yet to pit. Will they be doing the Alexander Albon strategy and go onto the soft tyres towards the end of the race? We'll have to wait and see. Even though the soft tyres, I tried it around here. The soft tyres is definitely not viable around this track. It's just not the best tyre to be on it, and you lose grip after 5 laps. It's literally impossible. But you never know. Some of these drivers know something that we don't. Oggiano's left the session. Oggiano has left the session. He has unfortunately disconnected. Now, that is a huge shot. Now, and Oggiano's, no. Oggiano's AI is pitted. So that means we got Rudy versus Legend for the race win. Now that is cruel. Now that is cruel to have a race win denied because he disconnected. Or maybe he got contact with the wall, something like that. But Oggiano has disconnected. And I think his chance of a race win has slipped through his fingers, unfortunately. He's down into 18th position. Obviously, we lost 2 drivers from this race so far. We've got 11 laps to go of this Italian Grand Prix. And this battle for the race win could get very intense indeed between Rudy and Legend. And yes, Chris, it is a shame for Oggiano to lose it, but a safety car could bring him back in this because he'll be on the fresher tyres. But will those tyres get to the end though? Hopefully Oggiano can get back in the session. Unfortunately, I do not have him as a friend on PSN, so I can't add him, unfortunately, which is a shame. So I think I'm almost certain we will see a different race winner. But who will it be? I thought I saw drops of rain for a minute there, but obviously I was imagining things. As Namaya has got the fastest lap so far with 1:21.0. Yellow flag, that's Rowan. Rowan is out the session, he's retired in the pit lane. Okay, he is retired in the pit lane. I think that's all the retirement so far has been in the pit lane. So no major incidents so far in PSF1, which is great to see. But it's a shame that people are giving up and retiring in the pit lane. But obviously there may be other stuff that potentially could be going on at the moment. As a yellow flag, obviously, because of Rowan's. It might be that Rowan's binned it, actually. Rowan's binned it. Okay, he didn't retire in the pit lane, so he must have binned it somewhere before the pit lane. That is interesting. But obviously we'll find out from Rowan as well. But absolute shame, because he could have got the win last week. But here we go. We've got Rudy versus Legend versus Nam. Now, Nam is Legend's teammate for tonight. Will there be some strategic mind games going on from the Williams pairing? If I were them, I would hold Rudy up for Nam, and so Legend could get past. And it could be free wide going into turn number 1 then, as Nam tries to get past Fabi in towards turn number 1. Can he keep it on the island? It's going to be free abreast as they head towards turn 2. Heading towards Curva Grande. Rudy has got to get this move done ASAP. And looks like Rudy has got the move done ASAP. Rudy is your race leader. Legend in P2. And we got the ones that stayed out on those hard compounder tyres since the very start of the race. Gambled for a safety car. But unfortunately that safety car is not coming at the moment. And you can see the pure pace that the fresher mediums have, as Fabi has dropped a little bit more. I wonder if Fabi is suffering the same situation to what I did in the race on Saturday, where the rears just lose so much grip. Because, he almost hit Ray there as well. Ray's looking like he could gain quite a bit from this as well, because he is still in that DRS train as well. Even though Ray wouldn't want to beat in P8, still he could get points again, which is great for his 3rd race in PSF1. As Asako gets past Nam now. And I believe we got a challenge for the lead. So Legend gets Rudy. As Legend takes the escape road, he hits the sausage curb. Oh no! What a shame for Legend. This has opened a massive door to Asako then. Through Curva Grande, and Asako thinks, thank you very much. I could have a chance to get my first win here. Asako could win this race. But obviously he can lose it on penalties. Asako up into P2 then. Danurko has passed now up into P6. So Danurko could still have a shot of getting a top 5 finish. And there's a few people in the chat talking about strawberry ice cream. I don't know why people are talking about strawberry ice cream. Let's just say strawberry is my favourite fruit, by the way. But anyway, Ray up the inside of Nam up to P7. So I still don't get it. Why the ones who have stayed on these hards are staying on them? I just don't get it. Obviously Fabi's on the mediums. I don't know why Nam stayed out. But there is probably a method to the madness. Probably he's going to help his teammate out. I don't know. But I think Legend has lost a bit more grip now. But he's going to be on the fresher tyres. So on lap 21. And I think Legend has found a bit more grip now. As he's got 10% battery though. He's used up too much to get ahead of Rudy. That because he made that mistake, he's probably regretted using that ERS. So he hasn't got a lot to use for most of this race, which is a bit of a shame for Legend. Because he's got to try and get past Asako. Now, yellow flag. That is Nam. No, that's not Nam. Brock got past Nam. Who's a yellow flag for? Meanwhile, H Eagle is getting past Jensen. It's going to be a battle for the final point coming up soon as well, because obviously Nam will still have to pit. H Eagle does have that time penalty looming as well though. So, but H Eagle is having a much better race compared to last week. More composed. I think he was the one who gained quite a few positions from it. Let's look at position gains again. Yes, H Eagle has gained 6 places. Same with Asako, same with Fele. So All three of these drivers have had some really good races so far. As we got Nam that just came in into the pits, who's got a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. No, Nam. That is not what should happen. That is a shame. That is a shame, but he comes out in 15th. I believe that's for the soft compounded tyres. I don't know why he waited to go on to the softs. We know how powerful the undercut is, and you probably would have lost less time if you went into the pits like 5 or 6 laps ago. But you never know what could happen. Still a possibility of a late safety car. We'll run for your order then. Rudy is leading the race. Azarcombe in P2, Legend P3, Tom P4, Valters P5, Dan Urco P6, Ray in P7, Nemaya in P8, Brock in P9, H Eagle at the moment will get the final point, but it will be Jensen that gets the final point due to H Eagle's penalty. And penalties can make all the difference in PSF1. As the gap is quite spread, I would say, from P9 downwards. But I think anyone in the top 8 has got a really good shout of winning this race today. As we got the fast lap so far from Fabi with a 1:20.7. Rooney's absolutely clocked with his pace at the moment as Nam is out of the race in the pit lane. So another retirement in the pit lane. But Rudy is now trying to make sure that Azarcombe has got no DRS, and that's definitely working. But will it be too little too late? May not be at the moment, because Azarcombe has also been pushing with his ERS. He's got, I think, the same amount of ERS as him. Both of them have got 6% battery, so both of them are going to be in a bit of trouble. But Azarcombe will be in a bit more trouble because Legend's catching. And Legend's managing his ERS a lot better with 33%. Tom doing a lot better on 44%. Valve do even more good with 70%. Has he got something up his sleeve? He's using his overtake now and he's turned it off just a little bit. He could have found a little bit more ground on Tom there, but he's chosen not to. He's just going to save it for the penultimate lap potentially. Now I do have a question. Since we're racing in Italy, gelato or ice cream? I prefer ice cream. I prefer strawberry ice cream. I'm not just saying that because in the chat, but strawberry is my favourite flavour of ice cream in general. So, yeah, there you go. But gelato is obviously famous in Italy. There's yellow flag. That is, I believe, Nam's AI car. Don't know why that's still there, but that's what it is on this game. So, the ones who have the most DRS, they could be the ones on the charge here. Tom could be still on course to be getting a podium here today in that Mercedes car, and could close in on a few guys in the championship. Tom is P4 at the moment. He won't jump Azarcombe, I don't think, but it depends if Azarcombe could get his time penalty removed. Yellow flag, that is Louis that's binned it, second Lesmo. So Louis has binned it in the second Lesmo then, ladies and gentlemen. So Louis' race, unfortunately, has gone from bad to worse. Which is a real deep shame for him. More time penalties for him as well, so I wonder if he's going to park the car soon and retire. But there's no point in you doing it so late on. Rudy's pushing it even more. He was derating everywhere. He was on 0%. And Fabi's now out as well. So Fabi's also retired in the pit lane. So we're down to 14 drivers here in today's motor race. Don't forget, top 10 still gets points, but that increases your chance in getting points if you stay in this race. 2.1 seconds is the gap between Rudy and Asicombe. And Legend is the one that could steal Asicombe's P2 here. It may be too late to get the win, but Legend's got more ERS, so if Legend gets past Asicombe, Legend could challenge for the race victory. Heading towards the final corner, the Alboreto curve then, for the third to last time. You can see Asicombe is trying to cover off Legend here as we head towards the start-finish straight then. DRS wide open, Legend to the right-hand side, trying to leave as much space as they can. This could be free abreast, heading towards turn number 1. We got Tom that wants to join in the party as well, but Legend comes off beautifully, but he's made a bit of a mistake. Tom gets past Asicombe, so does Legend. But the most important thing is, can Tom get past Legend now? Past Curva Grande, heading towards turn number 4. He's going to think left. He doesn't think left, but he's still got a few more opportunities to do so. And all this battling is allowing Rudy just to sit pretty in P1 at the moment. He doesn't care that Rudy is running out of ERS at the moment. He's just being absolutely impeccable in terms of his race pace. And Callan in the chat is cheering on for Rudy. And it is fair to say that Rudy's doing a fantastic job, but it's not over until the checker flag falls. There's a bit of a mistake from Asicombe there. So Asicombe has lost the place to Danerco and Valter. So I wonder if Asicombe's tyre is starting to die. Don't forget, he was one of the first drivers to have pitted, so he was the one to struggle a little bit. Final lap of racing. We can see some intense racing for P2 and P4. But Danerco goes for a lunge in towards turn number 1 on Philip Valters. Both of these drivers have won a race this season. Also make a bit of touch. Ooh, that was a bit costly for Danerco there. So Danerco's lost not 1 but 2 places. Namaya's like, thank you very much. You make a mistake, I'm up a few places. So Namaya's up to P6 then. And look at the back of all this Ray as well. Ray's got really good traction as well. So are people starting to not cope with the pressure potentially as well? We'll have to wait and see. But Tom's got the DRS on Legend for the final time for Ascari. He's going to think left or right. He's going to go nowhere. I think he's going to settle for P3, which I have to say is incredible. What about for these guys? Oh, this is tight. This is tight between these three as we head towards this back straight. This could go anywhere. But let's watch Rudy as we head towards the final corner. Rudy, who was the F3 champion from last season, takes his first ever victory in the top tier, and what a deserved victory at that. Legend takes P2. Valters takes P4. Tom gets on the podium. Danerco just gets gets Ray on the line. 21 homers separating between Danerco and Namaya. Ascombe, due to his penalty, drops down to 7th position. And I didn't quite see who got that final point there, but my oh my, what a great race there. I really enjoyed that. Jensen, I believe, gets the final point, and he gets trial today as well. I'm sure he'll be very happy with that. So we will go through the podium celebrations, and it is Rudy, who is currently sitting P6 in the championship. Before tonight, he was on 22 points. He's going to add another 16 to that to stamp his authority in this championship. 1.6 seconds was the gap in the end, so Legend was pushing just a little bit towards the end. So Rudy started on pole, and just like Santeri did at the start of the season, he converted his pole to a race victory. So we got Rudy who wins, Legend in 2nd, Tom in 3rd, Philip Valters in 4th, Namaya in 5th, Danerco in P6, Ray in 7th, another good result for him, Ascombe in P8, Brock in 9th, and Jensen gets the final point from 16th on the grid. I have to say, Namaya's best result of the season as well, from 10th to 5th. have to say one of my drive of the days as well. Valters from 7th to 4th. Tom from 6th to 3rd. Those 3 honourable mentions I have to say. But Rudy kept his car clean. He had the pressure from Legend, Asicombe and Daneco for a lot of the race. But it was him that came out on top. We'll go through the rest of your results. Cadillo, Romanino, Rowan, Nam, Louis and Fabi were your retirements. Obviously, Oggiano was a lap down. Everybody else, I think 22 seconds between themselves and the leader there, which I have to say is quite incredible. So, that is your race. That was the Italian Grand Prix, and I hope you enjoyed that. Who was your driver of the day? I would like you to tell me your opinions on who you think your driver of the day as well. And James Head says, great drive from Rudy. That's the Rudy that we'd love to see. Yes, it is. He had it in him throughout the season. He was just so unlucky in some of the races. I would have to say, he could have had the shot in Japan. But obviously, there was a few quicker drivers that day. And he was quite lucky with quite a few drivers as well. Belgium, he could have got there. But again, was unlucky. He was quite good in Miami as well. And obviously, he didn't turn up to the start of the season. And now we see the Rudy that we know. Could this be the form that he's looking for? Could this momentum swing in his favour for the championship? I know Daneco's got a 60 points plus. But we've seen drivers take a massive gap and still win the championship. We saw it in XBGL quite a few seasons ago. So we could see it here tonight as well. But anyway, we're not going to be having any interviews tonight because my voice is absolutely dead. Because obviously I've been commentating by myself tonight because obviously Aiden was travelling back from Paris. Hopefully he'll be back next week and he'll be joining alongside me in the commentary box. So thank you to those of you that have joined us either live or post-event. We do really appreciate your company. Obviously, thank you to the coordinators and to the stewards and all the other commentators as well for your streams this week. And we have got Imola coming up this week as well. And for those of you that have been living under a rock, PCF1 has finished. So no more PCF1 races. Lucas Blakely is your PCF1 champion. But all the other PC tiers will be going on as normal from 7 PM UK time on Thursday. And then we've got PCF 2 at 8 PM on Thursday with Luke Etheridge and Chris Buxton take you through the action. Then we've got the lower PS tiers streamed on Sunday night. And then we've got myself and Aiden taking you through the action as usual on Monday night at 8 PM for PSF1. But you don't have to wait long for some more PSGL action. We've got some Gran Turismo GT7 action on tomorrow night around Croatia, I believe, for round number 3 of season 2. And it'll be Luke Etheridge taking you through tier 2, and we will have Webbo who will take you through tier 1. So if you like some GT7 and want to watch that, I believe it's at 8 PM UK time, or it might be 7 PM. I need to check the timing on that, but make sure that you check that out. So we head to Imola next week. It is a track that not many people have had practice on, but it's a well-loved track for a lot of the drivers. So I think we could see another different winner here next week. And I'm very much looking forward to seeing what these drivers have in store. I've been Jessica Ball. We hope you enjoyed the action. We will see you next week for the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. And now I'll leave you in the hands of our sponsors. Goodbye.
This broadcast was brought to you by GT Omega and Grid Rival, proudly supporting PSGL.